if you can hit the ball 220 yards straight. Remember, all of my ideas are about data. It's about getting you playing better on the golf course, and I'm really keen for you to get this idea, because the more you do, the better you're going to be. Hi there, it's David Young, the Resourceful Coach, and what we're going to look at again, another one of my videos, how to break 90, and what we're going to look at is the long game. And that's really important to understand how important probably those first two shots on each hole are going to be. But we're going to focus very much on your tee shot today, and if you're playing a par 5, that second shot, where you've probably still got over 300 yards to go to get to the green. Now, what's important to understand, and what we're going to look at today, is looking at two results. What would be a good shot for an 18 handicap golfer to play? So you're looking to break that 90, what do we need to achieve? And we've talked a lot about getting that ball in the fairway, and that's really important. Find a club that will hit it that sort of distance down the hole that will give you that chance. And I'm very data driven, and what I find is the golfers that sort of buy into the data, understand what they need to achieve, it brings that level of expectation to the right place, and you start to then see an improvement. And the key thing you see the improvement is they become more consistent, because they actually know what they're meant to be achieving. So, as I've said to you before in previous videos, most of my lessons are taken on the golf course, and for me it's all about, what do you want? What do you want to achieve from your golf? And it's very rare somebody walks in and says they want to be a scratch golfer. Majority of people are looking to play somewhere between, shooting between 80 and 90 in a round of golf consistently, and that's what these videos are all about. It's about understanding, what do you actually need to achieve? So we won't be going through a lot of technique in physically what you need to do in the swing. It's understanding one thing: the golf ball. What do I need the golf ball to do? That's the priority. If I need to get that golf ball down the hole X amount of distance to be able to play to a certain level. And what we're looking at today is, how do we break 90? That's what we're looking to do. So we're looking to see if I can hit the fairway. From my data, we need a shot of around about 190 yards. Now, this is really important to understand. There's never a situation, if somebody comes to me and says, I want to break 90, that I will then only allow them to hit the ball 190 to 200 yards off the tee. If you have the ability to hit it further than that, there's an opportunity you could be a better player. So I'm never going to stop you doing that. But we're going to show you two positions with these shots. Number one, what we need to achieve if we hit the fairway, but if I happen to go in the rough, what is the distance I actually need to achieve to still be playing on par to that 18 handicap, that shot score that's going to break 90. As soon as you put that golf ball in the rough or into trouble, it's going to cost you shots. So I get a lot of players come to me. I've got one particular guy at this club, hits at a considerable distance, and at no point have I ever tried to rein that distance in. I want him to have that distance, because he's probably got the power to be a 4 handicap golfer. At the moment, he's near a 25. So why would I take away something that's a massive asset? What we've got to do is learn how to use it. And what we'll show you in this video is, if I hit the fairway, what I need to achieve to be on par with that, where I would be in the rough, and how much further up the hole you need to be. And the second thing then is, if you do happen to hit the fairway with that longer drive, how much you're going to gain from it. So I really think everything is about getting that expectation in line with where you're looking to be. And what we're going to talk just initially before we go into this is handicaps. Okay, we've all got a handicap, and how is that handicap now created? Well, it's created very much through a year. You could have 20 rounds of golf, and now they pick your 8 best rounds, and from this they average out your handicap. So let's look at that golfer putting 20 rounds in, and let's look at what on average we do when we play a round of golf. How often do you play to your handicap? So let's look at the first thing. It's 20 rounds. 12 of those rounds are worse than average, because they're not in the 8 that we're counting towards our handicap. So that's 60% of your games are already worse than your handicap. Let's think about that for a second. So more often than not, you're going out there and you're shooting worse. So we need to get this expectation in line with what we should be doing, rather than maybe trying to push it and then end up making mistakes. The second thing we're going to look at is those 8 rounds. Now, on average, let's look at it. We may play 2 of those rounds to our handicap. So that's 10% of our rounds we're playing to the handicap. 3 of those rounds, which is 15%, are worse and 15% are better. So if we add that 15% to the 60, we now see 75% of your rounds are worse than your handicap. Just sit down and think about that. How can I make that better? And if you really want to lower your scores, what we're talking about today, the first 2 shots on each hole are going to be key to what you're doing. So if you can achieve one of the 2 results I'm going to get on this shot, and then we're going to look at a shot from about 300 yards in down a par 5 and what we're looking for to achieve there, then we can get the results. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit 2 balls down here. I'm going to hit the one that I would like golfers to do. We're looking for a shot around about 190. Okay. Anything 180, 190, I will break that 90 score. That's what we're looking for as we go through that shot. A little bit uneven there. Let's just bring it over to hit. Okay, so can't guarantee I'm going to hit it down the fairway, but let's see if we can. Okay, so I'm just playing a little hybrid down the fairway. Let's see what we get. Okay. And that's gone down the fairway, so I've achieved what I wanted to achieve with that club. But as I said, I'm not going to stop you. If you've got the ability to hit it further, and you know every now and again you can hit it straighter, we're going to show you what an advantage that can be when we get down there. What if I can hit a driver off the tee and gain a little bit more distance? Let's see what that gives us. Okay, now I've hit the driver, but I've ended up in the rough. So let's see how much that's going to cost me being in the rough, but how much relative to the extra distance I might have gained from that club has it really cost me. So let's go down the fairway, see what those 2 shots have created, and have I achieved what I need to play to 18, whether it's hitting the fairway or hitting the rough. So I've arrived at my tee shot with my hybrid. Smack in the middle of the fairway, really happy with this result. Just give you an idea how far we've hit it. We're looking for that 180 to 200 yards, and it's gone 191 yards. So I'm really happy with that. So that's a par shot with that club. Now, what's really important to understand, I think we're going to look at actually 4 results. We're going to look at number 1, this is the ultimate result to start with, to think that's going to play to 18 handicap. But what happens if I pulled that into the rough? What if I'd ended up over here in the rough? How much would that have cost me? And amazingly, if you're now in the rough, and we can look at the lie, it's not great, that's going to cost me about 0.6 of a shot. Okay, so this is a hole where on average I might make 5. By missing the fairway at this distance, I've now cost myself, I'm probably going to average now, rather than making a bogey, I'm probably going to half the time bogey it and half the time double bogey it. So really important to understand, if we're going to hit it this distance, we need to be straight. If we're doing that, that's great. So find a club you think I can hit it 180 to 200 straight, be consistent with it, great. But if you are inconsistent, we're going to look at the other shot where we've ended up further up the hole. How much is that going to gain us if we can go up towards the intended target? So we've seen we lose about half a shot going in the rough. How much further up the hole do I need to be for that to be on level terms with this shot? So here's the driver I hit. I pulled it into the rough, not got a great lie as you can see from it. And I've gone, let's just go back to the original ball, we'll just take a reading back. And I'm now 70 yards further up the hole. I've hit this ball 260 yards. And actually now, on average, I'm going to take the same amount of shots to get down from the rough as I am from that shot 70 yards further back from the fairway. And the reason for that is it's a much easier lie, much better result from that position. It's much easier to play it. But here's the advantage, this is what I'm saying right on that tee. If you can hit it 260 yards, there's a ball in the fairway, how much is that going to gain me? If I'm suddenly up here, relative to where I was back there, it's going to gain me about half a shot. Okay? And handicap-wise, what does that work out as? Amazingly, if I can suddenly hit that drive that good and straight, I'm a scratch golfer. 260 yards straight down the middle of the fairway, you are a scratch golfer. So this is why it's important. If you have the ability to hit it a good distance, and let's say on average you can hit one time in the run, one time in the fairway, and they're both playable and you can get full swings to them, that's a scratch golfer shot. That's an 18 handicap golfer shot. You got a single figure gain. So we're never going to stop you hitting the long shot if you can do it. But if it is erratic, we have to find a way to get you going much straighter. So really understand, the data is there to understand what do I need to achieve to get the desired results that I want. So par shot would be 190 off the tee in the fairway, 260 in the rough. If I'm 190 in the rough, I'm losing about half a shot. If I can get it on the fairway 260, I'm gaining half a shot. So that's a complete shot difference. And that's why, just from one shot, we're not talking about the whole hole, that's just the first shot on a hole, you're gaining a shot as a scratch golfer if you can hit it 260 down the middle of the fairway. Anywhere in between, and you're going to bring that handicap down. So really important, I'm never going to stop you hitting that ball a long way, but let's get it in play. If you can, that's where your score is going to make a big difference. So what we're going to look at now is that second shot down a par 5, 300-yard shot. What do we need to achieve on these ideas to keep you playing to that score that can break 90 and get the desired results that we want? So here's our second shot for how to break 90 long game. And we're looking at that second shot down a par 5. You may still have 300 yards to go. So let's start with what's the maintainer in a sense. What's the shot that's going to keep you playing to that score of around 90? And it's just moving that golf ball down the hole about 150, 160 yards. Okay, that's all we've got to do. Okay, and choose whatever club fits you. I know a lot of you have watched my videos and go, well, that's easy for a pro to hit an 8-iron down there. But what I've had, which is great, some feedback where guys have come back and said, yeah, I can do that with a nice 5 hybrid. I'm hitting it 150, 160 down the fairway now. I'm keeping the ball in play. It's making such a difference to my game. So it's not about what I'm playing. This is about the data, telling you what you need to achieve. So we're looking for that shot, 150, 160 yards down the fairway, move it down the hole. And we're going to look at, like we did on the drive, look at 4 different results and how that can affect your shot. So from there, again, not the easiest to lies this on this particular hole. There, can I move it forwards? So for me, that's just hitting a nice smooth 6-iron down the hole. I've achieved what I want to achieve, 150 yards down the fairway. Find what works for you. But as we said, we're never going to stop you hitting it further. If you can hit it further, take the shot on and do it if you can, and find a way to get it down the fairway. So I'm going to take a hybrid now, see if I can move it further down the hole, and let's see what happens if I do that. And then we're going to look at the results. If this ends up on the fairway, great. If it doesn't, ends up in the rough, what's it costing me? Okay, so again, just gone into the rough. How much is that going to cost me? But remember what we did on the drive. Because I've got that extra distance, I've ended up in the rough. Has that still given me the chance to be an 18 handicap golfer? But what would be the advantage if I hit that fairway? Will it be half a shot like the drive? Will it be more or will it be less? Let's go down and have a look. So I've arrived at my ball. This is the shot I hit with the 6-iron down the hole, moving it forward 150, 60 yards. And that's going to maintain my score. That's going to keep me playing to around that 90 as I go along. If I end up in the rough, and you can see the lie on that particular ball isn't great, that's going to cost me around about 1/3 to 0.4 of a shot. So the importance of hitting the fairway gives you much more control on the golf ball. That's what we're looking for. But what's really important to understand is if you can hit it that little bit further, we're going to go and have a look at my hybrid shot. And if I've hit the fairway and I've hit it 40, 50, maybe 60 yards further down the hole, what's that going to gain me? Remember the tee shot, by doing that and hitting the fairway, I'd gone from being an 18 handicap golfer to a scratch golfer by hitting it that further 60, 70 yards off the tee. Will that hybrid shot putting me down the fairway another 40, 50 shots be a similar sort of gain if I can do it? But if we went in the rough, how much is that going to lose me? And can I get somewhere in between? And it might end up now you could be breaking 80 rather than 90. But let's go and have a look where the hybrid ended up and see what advantage we've gained from that. So I've arrived at where my hybrid ended up, and what we've gained is about 60 yards. We've actually put this down there about 220 yards down the hole. So from about 300 yards, we had about 140 left. We've now only got 80 left. And amazingly, this distance, if I ended up in the rough, this lie here, I'm going to take on average the same amount of shots that I would from 140, 150 yards from the middle of the fairway. But how much would I have gained if I hit the fairway? Again, I'm gaining about 0.3 of a shot, 0.4 of a shot. And that's the equivalent of going from back there, playing to 18, this is now breaking par. This is the equivalent of a +2 handicap golfer. If you can hit the ball 220 yards straight. Remember, all of my ideas are about data. It's about getting you playing better on the golf course. And I'm really keen for you to get this idea, because the more you do, the better you're going to be. And what you need to understand is get that data before you start playing. There's so many systems out there that to help you to understand what you're doing wrong, but actually if you have a starting point and know what you need to achieve, it will make it so much easier. So please watch my 12 shots of golf. There are around about now 8 videos about all the different 12 shots from putting all the way through to driving, showing you what you need to achieve to play to a certain level. And it may surprise you what you've got to do. What we've shown you here today is the long game. The long game is about, can I get that tee shot in play? We're looking for 190 off the tee. We're looking for a shot down the fairway, move at 150, 160 yards. If you can do that and you're keeping the ball in play, you're not finding rough, you're not finding awkward lies, bunkers, you are going to play to 18 handicap easily. You're going to break that 90, no problem at all. That's how good your long game is. But as we've shown you, if you can gain extra distance off the tee, and we showed you 190 to 260 with the driver, we're now a scratch golfer. 150, 160 with the iron or the club moving up the fairway up to over 200, you're a plus handicap golfer. That's how good that shot would be. And as I said, I'm never going to stop you playing those shots. That's really important to understand. If you've got the ability, do it, because you could be a 4 handicap golfer in time. Why would I hold you back? But the importance is know where you're starting. When you go to that golf course, realize if you hit a drive and you know you can hit 260 and you're struggling to break 90, but you hit it 190 or 200 yards down the fairway, that's okay. So you don't mentally start beating yourself up. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you need to do it. And I think that's the important thing to understand. What we're showing you is what you need to achieve to play to that level. As I said, please watch my 12 shots of golf. Look at the how to break 90 videos. There's 3 or 4 of them out there now looking at different areas, and it will show you what you need to do. And once you get that idea and you get it consistent in your mind, it's amazing how it will transform your game. It has for my golfers, it will for you. And some of the guys that I'm getting feedback on YouTube, players that have never broken 100 are now breaking 90 easily. So get these ideas, work on what the ball needs to do rather than what you're doing in certain parts of your swing, and you will see the results. Look at what the ball's doing and it will happen. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Look forward to seeing you soon, and please share this with your friends.